Next up, we got there'll never be another Randy Johnson. Now, if y'all didn't know, I am trying to get more into MLB content. I played baseball since I was younger and stuff like that, but I just never watched baseball. It's weird. But I'm trying to get more into MLB. So I seen this, you know what I'm saying, never be a Randy Johnson. I don't know who Randy Johnson is. I'm guessing he's like the greatest pitcher ever, maybe. I don't know. Because Ohtani's alive, so I don't know how that could be possible. But, you know what I'm saying, y'all let me know in the comment section what other videos you want me to react to. Also, if y'all want more MLB content, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, man. Hey, let's see what it be time by.
Randall David Johnson. Perhaps no name in MLB history evokes more fear in the hearts of batters than that of a big unit. We all remember the mullet, the mustache, the scowl, the blazing fastball, the filthy slider, the 6'10" monster of a man that accomplished more after 35 than most players do in their entire career. But his legend melds into myth over the years. We can lose sight of what he truly managed to accomplish during his playing days. The absolute absurdity of his raw numbers, including nearly 5,000 strikeouts, 303 wins, and 5 Cy Young awards. We may remember the highlights, like the time he hit that bird, but we find ourselves forgetting the great stories.
That was him that did that? Yo, what the fuck? No, I remember seeing that video, bro. I was watching like some sports craziest moments.
Highlights, like the time he hit that.
This dude hit a bird. Did he kill the bird? Is the bird okay?
Bird, but we find ourselves forgetting the great stories, like the time he won Game 6 of the World Series against the Yankees, then came back the very next day and won Game 7 at age 38, or how Johnson went from a gangly near bust of a pitcher with the Montreal Expos in his mid-20s to perhaps the greatest left-handed pitcher of all time. Well, now it's time to jog our memory, to appreciate the glory of baseball's big unit. Step right up to the plate with us, if you dare. When Randy Johnson debuted with the Montreal Expos in 1988, he was already 25 years old, and he came with a lot of baggage. The California native was the son of a police officer who grew up throwing balls at his garage door until the nails came out of the wood. Young Randy was a two-sport star in high school and earned a scholarship to play basketball and baseball at USC, where he was a teammate of Mark McGwire. The 6'10" southpaw already had a high 90s fastball in college, but had trouble controlling it, often scaring the opposing teams with his lack of command.
What the fuck?
But had trouble controlling it, often scaring the opposing.
Yo, that boy died, bro. He got a weak in the knees. I'm talking about weak in the knees, yo.
Teams
that is funny.
High 90s fastball in college, but had trouble controlling it, often scaring the opposing teams with his lack of command. This tradition started early, and it wouldn't get any better for him after the Expos drafted Randy in the second round in 1985. He continued to struggle with his control, walking an astounding 128 batters at AA Jacksonville. In fact, the young hurler was so wild that while rehabbing from an injury, his pitching coach had to obtain a department store mannequin to stand in the batter's box while Johnson threw simulated games. His teammates were too afraid to do so. But his fastball wasn't all that he had trouble controlling. During a game with AAA Indianapolis...
See, I ain't gonna lie. That's one thing about me. Like I always say, like, when I was like, obviously, like, you know, I'm strong and stuff like that since I played football. You know, I'm a multiple sport athlete, so I was already strong and stuff like that when I played baseball. But the thing about it was, like, I was never accurate. You know what I'm saying? So I'm literally here, like, throwing the ball as hard as I can, but it don't be nowhere near accurate. It be all the way, you know what I'm saying? You know the worst thing is, bro, when you're playing catch with somebody, you know what I'm saying? Y'all kind of far from each other, and you were throwing bad throws. So now he got to go run and get it. So imagine you throw a bad pitch, right? He got to go run and get it. Go back to a spot. You throw another bad ball, yeah, and go back. You know what I'm saying? Keep doing that, bro. Nobody want to play pitch with you no more. Nobody want to play catch with you. That was me, bro. You know what I'm saying? It literally used to hurt my soul, bro. Because I'm like, bro, I know it hurts, bro. I know. You know what I'm saying? But I just wasn't that accurate, bro. I don't know. It just, I don't know.
In 1988, Johnson injured his pitching hand after trying to catch a ball smashed up the middle. Worried that his pitcher might have a broken knuckle or something, Johnson's manager removed him from the game. Randy was not happy about that. So what did the irate Johnson do? He threw a right-handed punch at the bat rack, breaking his non-pitching hand. It turned out that his pitching hand was fine, but the punch caused him to miss 2 months of that season. When Johnson finally debuted,
what the fuck is going on?
Threw a right-handed punch at the bat rack. Pitcher might have a broken knuckle. Fastball wasn't all that he had trouble controlling. During a game with AAA Indianapolis in 1988, Johnson injured his pitching hand after trying to catch a ball smashed up the middle. Worried that his pitcher might have a broken knuckle or something, Johnson's manager removed him from the game. Randy was not happy about that. So what did the irate Johnson do? He threw a right-handed punch at the bat rack, breaking his non-pitching hand. It turned out that his pitching hand was fine, but the punch caused him to miss 2 months of that season. When Johnson finally debuted with the Expos in September of 1988, he immediately became the tallest player in Major League Baseball history up to that point, at 6'10". But that was not the only way to distinguish himself at first.
He was 6'10"? I think about to say like what, 6'7". What? Bro need to be in fucking the league. He ain't being up. I mean, I guess he is already in the league, huh? I guess he is using his height. But I would think, because you don't really need height in baseball, but in basketball, he could be the next Larry Bird.
His 98-mile-per-hour fastball and his hard, exploding slider were definitely big league pitches, but with no discernible control over them, he wasn't able to effectively retire big league batters consistently. He walked as many men as he struck out in 1989, before the Expos decided to deal him to the Mariners mid-season as part of a 5-player deal that landed them all-star left-hander Mark Langston. It was an understandable trade at the time, but one that Expos fans would later come to regret, much like the trade that sent another Hall of Famer, Pedro Martinez, to the Red Sox 10 years later in 1998. Yeah, that's right. In an alternate reality, the Expos had Prime Johnson and Martinez in their rotation. Before he left the Expos, however, Johnson did earn something of note: his awesome nickname. While shagging batting practice, Randy collided head-on with his smaller Expos teammate, Tim Raines. Raines looked up at the much taller Johnson and remarked, "You're a big unit," and the name stuck. For the next 3.5 years with the Mariners, the big unit continued to struggle with his consistency, posting ERAs near 4 with nearly 150 walks a season, netting him ERA plus marks no greater than 108 in any of these seasons. For reference, an average ERA plus is 100. But Johnson did show flashes of utter dominance, like on June 2nd, 1990 at the Kingdome in Seattle. Versus the Tigers that night, Randy threw the first ever no-hitter in Mariners franchise history, striking out 8. Although even this performance couldn't escape his control woes. He still walked 6. The man who would retire with 303 victories had just 48 by the age of 28. And by 1992, it looked like Randy Johnson might not be in the big leagues long enough to earn that many more. Tall pitchers who have bad command and rely almost solely on velocity don't generally age well after all. Then came some timely advice from another hard-throwing ace who knew a little something about control problems. It was August 1992. Randy Johnson was on his way to yet another 500 season with the Mariners, in which he led the league in walks. So, during a Mariners-Rangers series at the Kingdome, he decided to seek out the advice of a future Hall of Famer and fellow fireballer, Nolan Ryan. Ryan had been a late bloomer as well, one that had struggled with walks massively early in his career. He knew exactly what Johnson was going through. So, what did Ryan have to say? Well, for starters, he suggested that Johnson make a few adjustments to his mechanics, including landing on the ball of his right foot and not the heel as he strode towards the plate. This would keep his momentum going to home plate instead of third base, and hopefully improve his control. He also offered some much-needed words of encouragement to the big lefty. Later that season, in late September, the retooled big unit faced his mentor at Arlington Stadium in Texas. Johnson threw 160 pitches and struck out 18 Ranger hitters. He would never again be the same pitcher. Johnson also found some additional resolve that offseason from a more personal source. His father, Bud, had died from heart issues that Christmas while Randy was en route to the hospital. He never got to say goodbye to his father, and later said that from that day forward he realized that baseball was just a game. It wasn't life or death, and he resolved to be the best player he could be. And boy, was he ever good.
So Randy Johnson has it all going for him tonight.
In 1993, the new and improved Johnson went 19-8, leading the AL with 308 strikeouts and finishing second in the league's Cy Young voting. His ERA plus jumped almost 30 points all the way up to 135. On top of all of this, he managed to walk just 99 hitters, his first full season with less than 100 walks allowed.
Is he the greatest pitcher ever? Let me know in the comment section.
After a dominant strike-shortened 1994 season in which he K'd 208 in just 172 innings, the big unit had his best season to date in 1995, going 18-2 with 294 strikeouts, along with leading the league with a 2.48 ERA. This all culminated in his first and only AL Cy Young Award. Johnson also pitched the Mariners into and through the playoffs that year, beating the Angels 9-1 in a one-game playoff, before beating the Yankees in Game 3 of the divisional series, and returning in Game 5 to pitch 3 innings of relief as the Mariners won the game in 11 innings and the series. Johnson and the Mariners' magical season came to an end against the Indians in the ALCS, but the team, armed with their newly minted left-handed ace, were now bona fide perennial contenders in the AL. Flash forward to the 1993 All-Star Game at Camden Yards. The Phillies' left-handed slugger John Kruk comes up against Johnson in the top of the third inning, and the big unit lets go of a 98 mile fastball that soars over Kruk's head. Kruk steps out, catches his breath, and steps back in, taking the fastball down the middle, then weakly waving at 2 more pitches before returning to the dugout as his bemused All-Star teammates look on. 4 years later, at the 1997 All-Star Game, Johnson's former Expos teammate Larry Walker
this is the one thing about baseball that's really nice that my dad always told me about. I never really understood, bro. Bro, you can be in the league for so long, bro, because you're not taking hits to the body. You know what I'm saying? The only person that's really, really damaging their body, you could say, on the long run, is pitchers. Because obviously, they're throwing so hard, 100 miles per hour. You know what I'm saying? I mean, unless you just, always working your shoulder. I don't really know. But obviously, that's the only thing that's really hurting your body. Versus football, literally football, bro, you're getting hit every single day. Practice, the game, it don't matter, bro. You're getting hit. Same with basketball too. People falling down on the ground and stuff like that. Basketball is kind of less contacty, but it's still contact. Baseball is literally no contact. You barely contact at all.
The plate and experiences a similar missile from Johnson.
Jesus Christ.
Fast-thinking Walker turns his helmet around and marches to the right-handed batter's box to take a pitch to the delight of everyone in the ballpark, aside from maybe Johnson.
You can do this?
Walker's AB ended a bit better for him as he turned back around and took a walk, though not before registering another iconic highlight for the big unit. Another change of note during this time was Johnson's increasing usage of his nasty, and I do mean nasty, slider. He embarrassed many a hitter with his sweeping pitch, including Hall of Fame shortstop Barry Larkin, who once swung at one that went between his legs. Increasingly, Johnson could throw the exploding pitch for a strike in any count, too, which meant hitters could never dig in and sit on the fastball, even in fastball counts. That's pretty rough when the fastball you can't sit on is over 100 miles per hour from a nearly sidearm slot. The only thing that could hold Johnson back by this point was injuries. Unfortunately, he missed most of the 1996 season after undergoing major back surgery, something that would irritate him at times for the rest of his career. But he returned once again to his all-star form in 1997, going 20-4 with 291 strikeouts and a personal best 2.28 ERA.
See, the only thing I don't understand is this ERA shit. I don't know what that means.
That season, he struck out 19 batters in a
what's
game.
a good ERA? You know what I'm saying? I don't know what's the average ERA. I don't understand the 2 point. Where is this all coming from?
And at the height of the steroid era, the Mariners won the American League West by 6 games that season, but were eliminated by the Baltimore Orioles in the ALDS, with Johnson losing both of his starts to another Hall of Famer, Mike Mussina. A pretty anticlimactic end to what amounted to a monumental season for the big unit. And so Johnson entered the last year of his Mariners contract in 1998. The team had just committed to long-term deals with its 2 other stars, Alex Rodriguez and Ken Griffey Jr., and the big unit was expecting a big payday as well. But he was now 34 years old, recently coming off major back surgery, and had lots of innings under his belt at this point. So when Johnson got off to a slow start that season, the Mariners decided to pull the trigger on a trade instead of a long-term deal, sending him to the Astros for 3 players. This was, to put it mildly, a big mistake. The starting pitchers like Mike Hampton and Shane Reynolds already in tow, adding Johnson to the mix basically gave the Astros 3 #1 starters, and quickly made them the favorites in the National League. When the news of the Johnson trade broke, the Astros Hall of Fame first baseman Jeff Bagwell was in a bar with some teammates after a game in Pittsburgh, and he promptly bought a round of drinks for everyone in the house. Bagwell's enthusiasm was not misplaced. 2 days later, Johnson made his Houston debut against the Pirates, striking out 12 in his first start. He followed that with back-to-back complete game shutouts, and as the entire baseball world was enthralled with the home run race between Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa that fall of '98, Johnson quietly and completely dominated the National League. He went 10-1 with an absurd 1.28 ERA in 11 starts, along with a ridiculous 3.22 ERA+, leading Houston to win their division by a comfortable 12.5 games. Randy's dominance continued into that postseason. He pitched 2 games in the NLDS against the Padres and posted a 1.93 ERA in them, but the Astros' bats went silent and he got virtually no run support and lost both games. The 102-win Astros were taken down by the Pods, who would go on to lose themselves to the Yankees in the Fall Classic. Now a free agent, and after his remarkable run in Houston, Johnson was again one of the most desirable players in the game. Still, at 35 years old, most in baseball honestly felt that the big unit's days were probably behind him, but Randy Johnson was just getting warmed up. In 1999, the Arizona Diamondbacks were just entering their 2nd season in the league, and they were desperate to make a splash by signing a big-name free agent to the young squad. So they signed the aging Johnson to a 4-year, $52 million contract. That seemed like a lot of money to give to a pitcher in his late 30s at the time, especially for an expansion team.
Bro, literally, bro, and it's funny because you would think that, oh yeah, he getting traded to another team, this is still going to be the downfall of his career. No, bro. You know what I'm saying? God sets stuff up for you, bro. So just because one door closes, 3, 4 more doors is opened up. You know what I'm saying? So you worried about this, y'all get traded. But no, whole time, you're about to be at the peak of your career while you're older, too. You know what I'm saying? So, like,
but the D-backs were
like
eager to make a splash, and make a splash they did. During his 4-season run with Arizona, Johnson would win the NL Cy Young every single year, and reel off one of the best stretches by any pitcher in baseball history. Let's break it down. By 1999, Johnson had added a reliable 2-seam fastball to his repertoire, a 91-mile-per-hour cousin to his 98-mile-per-hour 4-seamer. He could throw it for strikes and use it to get right-handers out, down, and away. It also gave him a certified ground ball pitch. He would utilize his updated repertoire to great results in that first season in Arizona, leading the league in innings with 271, ERA plus at 184, ERA at 2.48, FIP at 2.76, and strikeouts with a mind-numbing 364. He helped transform an expansion team that won 65 games the year before into a 100-win juggernaut that lost in the NL Division Series to the Mets. This wouldn't be the last time that Johnson would lead his D-backs into the playoffs, however. Johnson kicked off the 2000 season by having one of the most dominant months of any player in baseball history. Seriously, what he did in April 2000 is right up there with Sammy Sosa hitting 20 home runs in June 1998, or Orel Hershiser's scoreless September in 1988. In April 2000, Johnson went 6-0 with 64 strikeouts and a 0.91 ERA. He had 3 complete games and 2 shutouts, and was on the mound for his team for all but 15 outs in those starts. The big unit was 36, and though he often had to spend time between innings lying flat in a dugout runway to nurse his surgically repaired back, he was better than ever, going 19-7 with another 347
Bro, so you tell me this dude was literally 40 years old, like in the league going crazy. Now, I ain't never heard that shit in my life. 40 years old and doing that, bro, is crazy.
Counts, easily winning his 3rd career Cy Young. That September, Johnson struck out Mike Lowell of the Florida Marlins for his 3,000th strikeout. The Diamondbacks failed to make the playoffs, but added a key roster piece late in that season, veteran right-hander Curt Schilling. Schilling was the yin to Johnson's yang, relaxed, extroverted, and talkative, where Johnson was quiet, introverted, and surly. The two opposites attracted wins immediately, and would dominate the league in 2001 like almost no combo ever has. So, let's get to it. 2001. First, Johnson had one of the oddest things ever happen to a major league player happen to him in a spring training game. This. That's right. A Johnson fastball struck a dove in mid-flight on the way to home plate. The umpires declared it a no pitch, while Giants second baseman Jeff Kent picked up the bird with his bare hands and took it back to the dugout. Aside from the circus plays, Johnson was making plenty of other memories in 2001 as well. On May 8th, he tied the major league record by striking out 20 Cincinnati Reds in a single game. Johnson and Randy Clemens remain the only pitchers to ever strike out 18 or more batters in a 9-inning game on 3 separate occasions. That 2001 season, Johnson struck out a personal best 372 batters, behind only Nolan Ryan and Sandy Koufax for the single season record. More than 37% of the hitters that Johnson faced that year were set down on strikes, and he faced a ton of hitters, 994 to be exact, en route to pitching almost 250 innings. He had a 21-6 record with a 2.49 ERA, winning his 4th Cy Young Award. But most importantly, he and Curt Schilling, also a 20-game winner, led the Diamondbacks to a division crown and berth in the World Series against the New York Yankees. That's when things would truly get nuts for Randy. In Game 2 of the series, Johnson threw a 3-hit shutout. In Game 6, with the Diamondbacks trailing 3-2, Johnson won his second game with another solid outing. And then, in Game 7, with the Yankees taking a 2-1 lead into the 8th inning, Johnson came out in relief on 0 days rest and retired all 4 batters he faced to keep the game close. And so, when this happened, Johnson was the pitcher on the hook for the win, picking up his 3rd victory of the series. It was a magical championship for Arizona, and perhaps even more so for the big unit. Johnson followed this up with perhaps the best full season of his career in 2002, going 24-5 with a 2.32 ERA, 195 ERA plus, and his 5th straight 300K season, finishing with 334 punchies. He claimed baseball's pitching triple crown en route to his 4th straight Cy Young and 5th overall. In 2003, Johnson had arthroscopic surgery on his right knee, cutting off a season in which he struggled overall relative to his first 4 years in the desert, putting up an ERA in the 4s for the first time since 1989. He would massively rebound in 2004, however, again leading the league in strikeouts with 290 while winning 16 games.
Bro, this dude is literally 40 years old. Dang.
6.0 ERA. He also became, at 41, the oldest pitcher in baseball history to throw a perfect game during a May 18th matchup with Atlanta. Johnson struck out 13 Braves on this faithful day, with his 117th and final pitch being clocked at 98 miles per hour. After the 2004 season, the Diamondbacks decided to cut some salary, so they traded the now 42-year-old legend to the New York Yankees for 3 prospects. It was, somehow, his first time pitching for a big market team. Johnson won 17 games in 2005 and 2006 for the Yankees, who won the AL East both seasons. However, during this period, his ERA ballooned almost a full 2.5 runs from where it was with Arizona, all the way to exactly 5 at the end of his final season with the Yanks. During that offseason, Johnson had lower back surgery yet again, before being traded back to the Diamondbacks for 4 players in 2007.
See, my question is, y'all let me know in the comment section. Also, too, if you made it this far in a video, number one, I love you. All right, thank you so much for supporting. If you are made this far, we're gonna play a little game. All right, the game is for you to comment a word. All right, simple enough. You know what I'm saying? Simple enough. All right, the word of the day is bird. No. Yeah, bird. It's gonna be bird. All right, it's gonna be bird. See, my question is though. Let me know in the comments also too. Would you or would you not play in the league when you're over the age of, I'll already say 30, 34, 35, bro? You pushing middle age 40, you're 40 and you're still in the league doing stuff. Let me know in the comment section. Would y'all do that? You know what I'm saying? I feel like me personally, I wouldn't. Just for the sake of like my body, like after like I feel like already in Randy Johnson's career, you know what I'm saying? At this point he didn't have nothing else to prove. I feel like he really was doing this for like the love of the game or something like that. But me personally, bro, I know that I want to take care of my body as long as possible. I feel like I came in the league. If I was Randy Johnson, I would feel like I came in the league, did what I had to do, prove my name, and then got up out there. You know what I'm saying? There's no point for me to sit here for extra years. But y'all let me know in the comment section, would y'all do the same?
He made just 10 starts that season, thanks to more back surgery, putting up solid if unspectacular numbers in the games he did pitch, and then followed it up with an 11-10 season with a 3.91 ERA in 2008. He finished his career with the Giants the following season, notching his 300th career win in a game versus the Nationals. He was 45 years old at the time, and so a legendary career came to an end. 22 big league seasons, 303 wins, a 3.29 ERA, 5 Cy Youngs, a World Series championship, a 10-time All-Star, all while striking out 4,875 batters, second to only Nolan Ryan all time, and the most ever by a left-hander. In 2015, Johnson was elected to the National Baseball Hall of Fame in his first year of eligibility, getting the 3rd most votes ever cast. His run of dominance from 1992 to 2004 shouldn't be overlooked as well. During this period, he led the league in strikeouts every full season he pitched aside from one. The year he didn't was 1997, when Johnson struck out 291, finishing just 1K behind Roger Clemens. The last interesting and quite frankly scary stat I'll mention about Johnson is the fact that he hit 190 batters in his career, more than any pitcher in over a century. I guess it makes sense why all those batters were so terrified all those years. The 6'10" Johnson stuck out like a sore thumb when he first entered the big leagues at 25. By age 45, he stood out as a legend, a player of the sort we will likely never see again. When do you think we'll see another 41-year-old throw a perfect game? Or a pitcher notch 360 or more strikeouts in a season, 3 years in a row? Or win?
See, the question is, who is the oldest player in the league now? You know what I'm saying? I don't even know who it is now.
Win 4 consecutive Cy Youngs, or win 3 separate games in 1 World Series, or strike out almost 5,000 career batters. All of these reasons are why we here at MTC believe we can confidently say that there'll never be another Randy Johnson. Thanks for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed.
Hey!